our priorities are stability, growth and public services. But it means taking difficult decisions.
Tax rates stayed the same in the autumn statement because Jeremy Hunt had already reversed Kwasi Kwarteng's cut in basic rate tax to 19p. However, there were some changes that mean that people will pay substantially more tax. The obvious one is lowering the 45p tax band. So rather than kicking in at £150,000, it will now kick in at £125,140. But the bigger effect will come from stealth tax and keeping thresholds frozen, which drags more people into higher rates. The personal allowance and the income tax rate thresholds, where people go up into the 40% tax bracket, will remain frozen now until 2028. So that will mean that more people who are the lowest earners end up paying tax because wages tend to rise over time with inflation. And also those who get pay rises will get dragged into the 40% tax rate rather than paying 20% in it. And to put that in context, if you were right on that threshold of £50,200 roughly for the 40% tax band and you got a 5% pay rise, you'd get about £2,300. Now, if you pay 20% tax on it, you would only pay £500 in tax. If you pay 40% tax on it, you'll pay about £1,000 in tax. So that means a lot less money in people's pockets. There are also some other freezes that people need to know about to the inheritance tax threshold and also some hikes in dividend tax where the threshold was lowered there and capital gains tax too. People's energy bills are going to go up again from next April. The background to this is that the energy price cap was due to rise to £3,549 from the 1st of October. Liz Truss stepped in with her energy price guarantee and limited the price cap for the average household to £2,500 for 2 years. One of Jeremy Hunt's first acts when he took over as Chancellor was to stop that and say that that guarantee would now only run until next April. The big question was, well, what will happen next? Would it go to prices that the market sets, at which point people could be paying perhaps £4,000 or £4,500 a year for their energy bills? The good news is that a new energy price guarantee has come in from next April until the April afterwards at £3,000. So that means people are going to be paying £500 more if they're the average household, which is about £42 a month. The thing people need to know as well though, is that we're currently getting a £400 energy rebate between October and March, which is giving people £66 a month off their bills. If you want to work out how much your bill will go up by, look at your energy bills, and you need one from after the energy price guarantee kicked in on the 1st of October, and you'll find a forecast annual bill. Take that number, multiply it by 1.2. That will give you what you should be paying from next April until the April afterwards, unless energy prices suddenly fall. The answer is nobody knows. The last time this question was asked, we went into lockdown. The property market was frozen, people weren't allowed to view houses. Effectively, it was put into a deep freeze for just over a month. Everybody thought that would be the thing that finally knocked property prices. And what happened? We got a pandemic boom. House prices have risen 25% since then. The important thing to remember though is that mortgage rates have gone up substantially, and that increases the cost of borrowing for people. Most buyers need a mortgage in order to buy a home, and the cost of borrowing that money is hundreds of pounds more per month to borrow the same amount than it was. If you look at what's going on in the property market already, if you look at asking prices, anecdotally, you're seeing properties reduced by maybe 5 to 10% when they're having reductions. That's not feeding through into the figures yet in terms of either the Rightmove asking price survey or the surveys based on mortgage figures or sold prices. The Office for Budget Responsibility forecasts that house prices will fall by 9% over the next 2 years. Some people think that that is way too optimistic. Others say, well, the property market has surprised us before. What is definitely certain is that it is much harder to raise that money to buy a house now, and that is likely to have some kind of impact. The good news on mortgage rates is they've actually already started to come down. After the mini-budget, which was received very, very badly, in case nobody noticed, mortgage rates spiked. This was due to a spike in government borrowing costs, which then influences mortgage rates. Also the expectation that the Bank of England would have to raise interest rates by much more than originally thought, due to Kwasi Kwarteng and Liz Truss's big giveaway. and just a general sense amongst banks and building societies of uncertainty, and they didn't know where things were going, and so they pulled back from the market. The average 2-year fixed rate and the average 5-year fixed rate rose above 6.5%. They've come down since then. We're looking at about 5%, and we're actually now seeing lenders cut rates rather than raise them, even though the Bank of England just delivered a big interest rate rise. Whether this will continue remains to be seen, but it's possible that mortgage rates will continue to come down slightly from here, even as the Bank of England raises interest rates. The big question for pensions in the autumn statement was, would Jeremy Hunt stick by the triple lock? This is the promise to raise pensions, state pensions, by the highest of one of three things: inflation, average wage growth, or 2.5%. With inflation running red hot in the measurement month of September, it far outstripped the other two. And so, what was going to happen? Was he going to raise pensions by this much? In the end, after months of speculation, Jeremy Hunt announced that he would stick by the promise. So pensions will go up by 10.1% from next April, rising to £10,600 for the new state pension. Unfortunately, 2023 is forecast to be just as gloomy as 2022. If you look at the Office for Budget Responsibility's forecasts, it says that we're already in recession and that it's a hefty recession that's going to last for about a year, something that the Bank of England has previously agreed on. As part of that, we're going to see unemployment rise over the next 2 years, with about another 500,000 people losing their jobs. We're also going to see energy bills go up from next April, and we're going to see people having to pay more on their mortgage and facing all of the other costs that are going up at the same time as they're paying more tax due to the stealth tax raids and some of the tax hikes. The good news is, though, that mortgage rates are now not forecast to rise by as much as they will do, and neither are interest rates. And also, inflation is due to drop from the middle of next year, and it should drop quite sharply, which will make people feel just that little bit richer as prices stop rising at such a rapid rate, even if they don't actually come down from where they are. And the final silver lining is that these forecasts are often wrong. They may be far too gloomy. The economy may prove to be far more resilient than we think. The last time we were looking at forecasts like this, it was when we went into lockdown at the start of COVID